Hello, viewers. Thank you for being here on this journey of the Yoga Infused Lifestyle Interview Series. And guess what? Today, I am actually being interviewed. So I thought it was only fair that since I have interviewed everyone else about their story, that I would be able to share my story a little as well. So I have a really amazing coach, fellow colleague and coach here, Michelle Boss, known as the Money Boss, financial expert to help. And she is going to be the one interviewing me today. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Tara. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me interview you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's just perfect. Just to let the audience know, my tie into yoga, I have been a practitioner since college, so well over 20 years, and I live a yoga-infused lifestyle. It's one of the key tools that I promote as part of my health and radiance. So I'm just thrilled to be here. It's a topic that's very close to my heart and I'm passionate about. So to get to share your story on your interview series is thrilling for me. So can you start off by sharing a little bit more about your story with us, because we haven't gotten to know you too well yet.
Thanks. Well, some people may or may not know, but yes, they probably picked this up if you've been watching the series all along. I was in the corporate world in sales and selling financing and marketing to restaurants for about 15 years. I was a very driven individual. I still tend to be driven, and it's a natural part of who I am, wanting to be a high achiever in life, and that's why I tend to work with high achievers now, because I know there is a light and a dark, a light and a shadow that comes with that. So that's kind of where it led me in my corporate business. I became the top salesperson in North America. I was making great money, into multiple six figures, and I guess it was burnout. I kept advancing. I was in management, and I was no longer happy, and I was always stressed out. And I not only not happy, but I was having physical symptoms. I was on like 7 medications, which is crazy. I was having high blood pressure. My doctors constantly were like, you need to slow down. I mean, I was like 30 and I was never overweight or anything. And yeah, all this was happening. And I started taking yoga classes, and I knew it was this little solace in my day, but it wasn't, I didn't really know there was a spiritual side to it or what that was. So I guess it was really confusing for me, because on the outside, I feel like I really looked successful. I had a beautiful home in Milwaukee, a corporate apartment in Chicago. I had a beautiful boyfriend, and I had this great job. And I was doing well in the company. So it's like I should have been happy, and I felt like I should be happy. And I was almost guilty for not being happy. But yet there was something missing. So when my friend died in a motorcycle accident suddenly on Memorial Day weekend on his travels in Wisconsin, middle of the day, he was hit by an SUV. When I found that happened, it was like, wow. Besides the extreme mourning of his death, because we had become best friends, we were friends since 5 years old, I recognized you really can die tomorrow. And if that happens, I better just enjoy today. And why wouldn't I? Like this, there is mortality, and that's real. So, and I had been trying to please everyone else. I felt like my dad was finally proud of me, right? Like I'm pleasing my parents. I thought everyone would think, grandparents, the family, it looks good on the outside to society, but who was I? Like, where was I in this whole thing? So I left my corporate job, and I was so scared to even tell my parents. And it's always someone, like your partner, your parents, someone you're trying to please, right? So I told them, and I thought, you know what, they're just going to have to love me anyway. And I'm going to have to follow my heart on this. And I left the country, left the boyfriend, and I went and traveled, and I was kind of searching for something. I traveled by myself around the world, and I thought, whatever sounds amazing is what I'm going to do.
That's so inspiring. And how was it that yoga was able to support you on this journey and to where you made it to today?
This is really where I found yoga. So I thought, where do I want to go in this trip? And I thought maybe I'll just go for a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks down to South America. I've always wanted to see Argentina, never even been to South America. That I've always wanted to see Australia, but I really wanted to go to Southeast Asia. So I just decided I'm going to do it all. So I literally went continent to continent. I went continent hopping for a matter of 9 months. And I spent a month in each country that I chose, like within the continent about, so I could really get that experience. And at the end, I found myself changing my plane ticket for the third time. And I had to just buy another one. But I really tapped into my intuition, my heart, said, this makes no logical sense, but for some reason, I am drawn to do this teacher training. And it was in Bali. And when I got to Bali and did that training, I thought, I didn't even know what I was looking for, but I thought, what is the spiritual side of yoga? I've just done classes and I know it makes me feel good, but I didn't know there was a spiritual sense. And it was in that training that I started to connect, I guess, to my real self without, or authentic self without being kind of cheesy, two yogi words about that. Like I thought, this is what I've always believed in. This is who I am. Like, just be kind to people. I'd grown up in this in a religious family, but learned like a moral code, but it wasn't like, I didn't always agree with it. Some of it I did, of course. And then other parts I was like, that doesn't seem right to me. But this I felt different about. And I had no interest in teaching yoga. And then I came back and I ended up sharing yoga and talking about teaching. And it really made me tap into following my heart and allowing myself to dream what's possible. Like, what if I could just teach yoga and travel? And I created that life and I created that business.
Wow. That is so inspiring. World traveler to not wanting to teach yoga to becoming a trainer, and then teaching and traveling with yoga. And so do you feel that part of your path really led you to discover your purpose? Like, did yoga play a role?
So you may or may not know, but there's a word in yoga called dharma, and it's your purpose. And it's really a big part of what even my teacher training now is about for people, because I think that's where a lot of the suffering comes in, when we feel like, what is our purpose in life? What are we good for? What are we doing here? What's next? And I had all those questions like, what does it even matter? So when your actions each day become purpose driven, and you remind yourself of that why behind it, that I want to make a difference in the world, I started having a desire or a calling to guide people to find their own purpose and to really live without that anxiety, depression, stress, and struggle that I had experienced. And it's so easy to get into it and do what you think other people are expecting of you, rather than listen to your own heart, tap into your own intuition, and really rise higher in life. And thank God I did, because I know that I'm helping change other people's lives. And I wouldn't have done that. I know that right now I'm a better mother because I have these tools and ethics of yoga and spiritual training to stay calm in times of challenge, and to really realize the kind of environment I want to raise my daughter in, and the kind of life that I want to live.
It certainly does create a very strong, peaceful foundation for your life. My practice has anyway, and it sounds like yours has too. So how do you transform people? Because you do amazing, amazing work with the life coaching and also the teacher training. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you strive to impact others and how?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I changed my whole life. I mean, I changed my career. I live in the nature in the woods. I used to live in the city. I now follow my own heart. I'm not following what my parents or partner or anyone else wants of me. So I tapped into what was holding me back. And really, I apply those same principles to other people now. Like, it's getting clarity on where you do want to go, recognizing where the blocks are, removing those blocks so you can get out of your own way and see. And there's a lot of healing work you need to do, because trauma and pain and emotional struggle are often what keep us stuck and keep us not believing in ourselves and not believing we can. So you have to do the work. I do the work with people, getting really deep to say, what are these thoughts or blocks that you've had, habitual thought patterns that you've had maybe since childhood, maybe since this relationship, or since whatever it is that's happened in your life. So we do healing work. We get clear. I suggest to anyone watching, getting clarity where you want to go, what would be a dream, what would be amazing, so you know what decisions you can make to support that. Then doing the healing work to see what's standing in your way, how you stand in your own way, is really more like it. And then also, what would be a step that you would take? What would be a decision that you would make that could get you there? Like, and what would that feel like? How would you do it? You know, so you actually get into action, and then figure the last step in my 4-step process is to figure out the why, so you can be committed and really keeping that commitment every day. The only way you can keep that commitment is if you really tap into why this is important to you, and you remind yourself every single day. You need to get crystal clear about where you're going. Allow yourself to be unstoppable, because your why matters so much deeply in your heart.
That sounds so strong and loving, and you infuse the yoga with each of the steps. Is that
my yoga teacher training uses all of this, and it's really a deep transformational process. And learning to teach yoga is standing in front of a group of people and finding your true voice. And I think you can only have an impactful class if you know who the hell you are, and speak authentically and be real up there when you're guiding others to do the same, because that's what yoga really is. So in that teacher training, it is all yoga. I would say in my coaching work, and my group coaching programs, yoga is really like back of mind philosophy and spiritual ethics, and teachings. There's 196 Yoga Sutras that are really a philosophy to living a happier, healthier, stronger life. So I use all of that in my coaching, but it's not specific like of what the modern Western world thinks of yoga. I don't necessarily tell people to do 5 poses a day or anything like that. I mean, it's just the backbone of it, right? That helps guide me to be a better coach.
And how do those ethics and philosophies of yoga help you to rise higher and inspire those under your wing to rise higher?
Well, really, it's always simple for me to go back to that. Now, there's a lot we could teach here that could take us weeks. So I'll say that one practice I like to use is the 8 limbs of yoga. And that is the first couple of limbs. The first 2 limbs are how you treat yourself and how you treat others. So how you treat your environment and the outside world, and then how you are within yourself and in your own personal environment. And one of those, the first, is actually tattooed right on my arm here. This one's my daughter, Leela, Divine Play. But this one is Satya, which means, so here I have it written out. And that is the first of the yamas, and that is truth. And that means, it's a reminder for me, because I didn't always do this, live true to you. Live true to what's in your heart, to the true you, right? So that's tapping into your authentic self and living true, and never backing from that, and getting, clarity about that. So that's one example, like I said, that we could go on and on of how the yoga background plays a role, but I help people to get clear on their truth and their authenticity. And I think getting to know yourself and be honest with yourself is one of the strongest shifts you can ever make in giving yourself a confidence, empowered life.
And prior to yoga, did you have any blocks that you were able to overcome because of?
Oh my God, yes. I had block after block, and I think I already kind of touched on those, thinking that I was trying to live to make by societal standards and family expectations. Those were blocks. but we like to blame our family or our partner or our society for that. And really, they're not actually doing it to us as much as we are allowing it. And by allowing, we're saying, well, he expects this of me, but we're the one making the choices to live that way, thinking we're going to please someone else. And that's just, it doesn't serve us. It really doesn't serve our higher purpose. So really blocks for me and for most people I notice I work with too, it's all in our mental patterns and the way that we've learned to think, act, and respond that are not in alignment with our soul or not in alignment with our truth.
I think it's easier as you get older and stronger as well to shed those things which don't serve you. But a lot of that conditioning happens when we're growing up, right? And the societal norms, the parental influences, I can definitely relate to that. And being able to shed that as you grow closer and stronger to your inner guide.
Well, I think that's where you need a coach, Michelle. And I know we're both coaches, so we definitely believe in them. But you can't remove your own blocks. You can't remove what, like you said, as we get older, we shed more of what doesn't serve us. But if you think of how you got to that place of shedding what doesn't serve you, it was usually help. Like someone helps you to do that. It's nice to think that you can do all this on your own, but one of the biggest breakthroughs you can have is realizing you can't do it on your own, I believe. You can read every book out there, but until someone else is there to point it out to you and help you shift your thought patterns, even if it's just going to a yoga class and hearing, that can be powerful in shifting that way of thinking versus what you do on your own. So, and learning to shed, learning to heal. But of course, there's nothing more powerful than having someone really just go deep, get in there with you.
In such a loving, supportive way for your own transformation.
Yeah.
And do you feel that you're living your dream life today?
That is the question I ask at the end to everyone. I use the words flow into your dream life. I can say that I have flowed in and out of my dreams all along this way the last 10 to 15 years, maybe through life, but especially since I found yoga. I really allowed myself to travel the world and teach yoga. That was a dream. I have this beautiful daughter, and I've allowed it to flow in a dreamlike way. I've allowed myself to move to a cabin in the woods that didn't always make logical sense, but it was in my heart. I knew this was connecting me to nature and the feelings of being grounded. In the summer, I can wake up and hop on a boat and take her to childcare. I can hop on my paddleboard. I still travel around the world regularly. My daughter took her first steps in Bali. So I live so much of my dream life. Is everything in my life a dream? Absolutely not. I deal with my own pains, my own struggles, my own deep emotional scars that are there and things that still happen. Those are not a dream. However, the philosophies of yoga and the spiritual teachings, thank God I've been on the journey I've been on, because I don't think I could deal with some of the pains that that have come to me in my life if I wouldn't have had this background, and if I didn't have help, and if I didn't have help of powerful coaches or therapists or friends and mentors and spiritual guides along the way. So I can say it's a dream life because I'm still learning the lessons, and there's so much of it is dreamy.
So beautiful. And you can find joy and happiness in that.
Yeah. You get to learn that you're flowing through, and one thing you know for sure is change. Change will always keep going. So thank you. Thank you for interviewing me.
Of course. I love to share yoga as well. It's been, like I said, a lifelong companion for me. It's helped me heal and get through very tough times. It's helped me learn to love myself more and more deeply and make those choices, right, that we're called to do to bring us closer to our dream life. So
Yeah.
I'm thrilled to be here. And you have some amazing things going on right now. So before we end the conversation, I just wanted to ask you about those and, how can we work with you? How can we get more of this yoga infused lifestyle?
Thank you. I do have some fun things going on. This is like a really big time right now. So two things that are happening pretty quickly. April 26th is the first day of my yoga teacher training in the Northwoods. It's an immersion. It's 1 week at a time, and it's really all about helping the students to find their voice, to live with authenticity, to heal from trauma. We do all of that work, as well as just stand up in front and teach a kick-ass class where people have more of an experience versus an exercise program, because that's really what I'm about. It's like a deep, meaningful experience. However, and that's 2 separate weeks, so you can take a week off early May, end of April, early May, and then another the first week of June. So those are, and there's still a few spaces available. It's all organic food and in nature up here in Wisconsin's Northwoods. It's phenomenal. You could fly in from anywhere, a week at a time. But the other program, I think, also really fits well, and you can do it from anywhere. It's really doable in anyone's schedule, I hope, because it is just 3 to 4, 3 Mondays a month at noon Central Standard Time. I'm doing a group coaching program. There's also going to be a private Facebook group. They can choose to do elite status, which means they have a private one-on-one session with me as well. So it could be 4 weeks of the month. Otherwise, it's 3 weeks of the month. And I'm calling it 3 months of magical manifestation, because one thing I know for sure is that our thoughts create our reality, and we have so much more power than we realize we do. And I had heard this in yoga, and I did not know how true it is, and I really know even some of the challenges in our life that happen. So we're going to do all of this work, gain clarity around the dream life, remove blocks, do some trauma healing. And Michelle Boss, who's here with us, is going to be a guest coach, guest speaker and coach the last Monday of April. So to help us with finances, you get access to all of these amazing, powerful female coaches. I have a support coach, Carmen Sauer. I have you coming, as well as 2 others. Maureen Vincenti is doing more of a nutrition and wellness, healing, and primal living piece, she calls it. And then also Shazia, who is doing financial abundance and how to engineer your life in a way that aligns with where you want to go. So it's all about, like, where do you want to go? How do you get there? Getting together in a group online for 1 hour. And I made this a super affordable program as best I could. It's way less than anything else I've been selling, because I just want it to be accessible and also very powerful. So that starts April 15th. You can also join after or join anytime, but sooner the better.
So awesome. It's going to be very, very powerful.
But you can tell I'm really excited. So sorry if I went on and on about it. I'm just super passionate, excited about it.
I love it. So how do we get in touch with you or get signed up for one or both of these programs? Because
Sure.
It's amazing.
Thank you. Well, everything's on my website, transformationtarot.com. But they could also just click on this email, anyone can, and send a quick message back to me and let me know what you're interested in. Or if you just want to talk about it and hear more information, we could hop on a quick call and just discuss where you're at right now, where you want to go, and see what's right for you. I love consulting. I love helping. That's why I do what I do. So yes. So with that, I know that each of you has the power to manifest the life that you really want to be living. So I really suggest that you tap into that power and know that the time is now. The time is always now, because someday becomes someday. And it's about being ready to just say yes and make it happen. Wouldn't you say part of it, Michelle, is just making the decision? Part of it.
Absolutely. Because if not now, when? And you could not have that tomorrow to, do it later. So yeah, absolutely. It's about starting with today and now, and yeah, making that decision to step into it.
for
And
having me. But with that, we'll close it up because I think we've gone a little over, and that's fine. Thank you so much for being here to interview me and being my guide. And also, thank you, viewers, for being part of this journey. We had some really amazing speakers with great messages, and I am so honored to have had everyone involved in this. And I really, from my heart to yours, namaste. And lots of love. That which is sacred in me honors that which is sacred in you.